free piece. One of these days we'll win one of the sketch duel pieces. It's got to go to everyone for the rest of our MegaCon lives. And we'll win something statistically.
There's only one more panel left after this though for the day, right?
Yeah, the only other one on our list is the Todd and Frank panel, and that's not till 5:30. So we'll be out of this one by like, what, it's at 2, so we should be done with this by like 3. And then it'll be interesting to see though if when we get out of this panel, if there's already like a line forming for the Frank Miller and Todd. So we'll see.
Is it in the same one?
Yeah, it's in the same one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will we just be able to stay inside?
Yeah, we can just stay inside. These are the winning numbers. What are we? Alright, 676 and 674. I really want to win something.
We got what, an hour of sitting around?
No, 10-30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I figured there'd be more people online.
Well, the less the merrier, because then our chances are larger.
Versus panel. So they're going to be doing some dual sketches today. We're going to do 2 each. And you guys, for the first round, so we're going to do 2 15-minute rounds. Do you guys want the audience to pick? Do you want to pick what you guys are drawing for the first one?
Let's take some suggestions,
Ooh.
and then we'll ignore them.
Just call it out. Just call something out.
Judge Dredd.
Say what?
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd. Ooh.
Judge Dredd.
Very exciting. Our Girl.
Archangel.
Archangel. Which one's Archangel? Oh, is that the
That's
X-Men?
X-Men. Yeah, Angel. Yeah, the.
Vampirella.
Nightcrawler.
War Machine.
War Machine.
Moon Knight.
Kirby, the little pink fella. I like that's the best one so far.
That's a circle.
Yeah.
Let me get my pencil.
Nazi Kirby? Why'd you ask for that? That's weird.
Wow, that's racist.
Very strange.
That is very polarizing. Can you imagine putting like a little Adolf Hitler on Kirby, like a little like. Yeah, he kind of ruined that whole look for anybody who wants that. Like, usually, if anybody has that little like little strip stash.
That's a
like,
Key and Peele sketch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like, other people could have this mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan brought that a couple years ago. Michael Jordan. We're like, dude, who in your circle told you that's a good look for you? Oh, you use Spawn. Okay.
All right. And do we want to go beyond that? Just say the character? Do we want to have a
we do wacky
using
stuff.
situation or?
That's actually, yeah, so we're going to do Spawn. In what situation?
Punching Hitler.
Right.
Birthday party Spawn.
In a maid outfit.
Spawn in a maid outfit punching Hitler.
Spawn at Batman's birthday party.
All right. I think I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go?
Yeah. I might just do what I want. I was at my table working on pre-sketches, so I'm like, okay, because I want to work on my inking, so, because I'm right next to Art, so I'm going to watch to see how he inks. I'm like, okay, what can I learn?
Bad idea. Don't do that.
Well, I just asked him, he goes, oh, you don't want to watch me. I use all kinds of cheap pens. It's like, what? Really?
Well, they're 15-minute drawings.
They are 15
And
minutes.
I just, you know,
That is true.
I'm in it for the LOLs.
Oh, that's true. Okay. No, we do like to be.
I'm disappointing you already.
No. It's kind of.
What's a disappointment?
No, it's always good to sit up here with your heroes and kind of like, oh man, like.
Oh no, you should have bathed.
No, that's cool. I think that's the thing that's so surreal about working at comics is these guys who you looked up to art-wise, and you consume their comics and you copied what they drew and you try to figure it out, and then years later it's like, oh hey Jonboy, I was, oh my god, he knows my name. It's like it's pretty cool because like I remember discovering your work, freaking out, and then
Shouldn't do that.
No, it was a New Mutants annual, and the guy knew that I really wanted that comic, and you couldn't find it anywhere.
That's funny.
And then I had to trade like 60 comics to get one comic.
Oh no.
So. Yeah, and I was collecting G.I. Joe at the time.
Oh no.
It was all my G.I. Joes, all
Yeah.
my later helmet G.I. Joes, so that was it. But and then I got that, and then that's kind of started me down this crazy path.
Did you tell Larry this story?
I told him everything else until I didn't tell about getting rid of
I'm telling him.
that. Well, I didn't hang out with Larry in San Antonio, which is fun.
No,
I'm sorry, I
Larry's-
guess we're starting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, drawing, whatever.
yeah. So what do I have? That's
All right.
Arthur, I wanted to start with you real quick.
Oh, that's right, you're here.
Yeah, I am here. Hi, everyone.
He is moderating.
So you've been doing work professionally since the 80s. I want to know.
1883.
Yeah, there we go. So much has changed over time. What do you think are the biggest changes in the industry since you started working professionally?
Well,
How can I put this?
I mean, coloring is a huge thing now, isn't it? I mean, and when I first started, printing was not very good. So basically, the first couple of jobs I did, everything was pink and yellow because those are the colors that worked better on the new printing system that they were developing.
Right.
Which fortunately did not last very long. But I think coloring is probably the major thing. And then also, there's just so much stuff now. There's so many things at the comic book store, and there's so much good stuff now. I mean, there was really good professional guys back then, but there's so many more now. It's amazing.
I feel like they have better access. Young people, have better access to tools and tutorials.
That's definitely true.
For us back in the day, we were standing these long lines and queues and showing our art in Artist Alley when San Diego's Artist Alley was. Remember how ginormous that place was? They used to give us hamburgers
huge, yeah.
and sodas, like
Yeah.
they went through on a big cart. I might want a hamburger like that. You know, that was many moons ago. But I feel like comics are so decentralized now these days. I think anybody wants to do their own comic. There's nobody. I hate to use the term gatekeepers, but there's no one telling you what good looks like. You can just tell your stories and try to, if it finds an audience, then it's like,
100%.
Jonboy, I want to go with you real quick. We've chatted in the past, and one of the things that I said that I loved and is very distinct about your art is you kind of have like an outline to your art, with a lot of your covers and stuff. Like it's your own style, love it, very unique. How did you develop your style? Did that kind of happen organically, or?
Well, a lot of it was like actually emulating people whose style you liked, you know, and I think that's how it always kind of starts out, where you find something you like, and you know, your stuff becomes this big compilation of like guys who influenced you. You know, for me, I discovered anime, and I was always a big Michael Golden fan. I had his Micronaut stuff, and I loved it. And then, of course, I discovered art stuff, and then there's this thing called Ninja Scroll that came out at the time, and it was it was just like holy, like wow, and that actually really pulled me back into art, and I just started doing it more and more again. And as far as putting strokes around stuff and everything, I think it's just, for me, I like creating some clarity in how you create a read. And sometimes I'm not the best at shading or inking, so I do that kind of stroke around and kind of create more of a separation between layers and things like that, try to create some dimension in the piece. Nowadays I do it now more with lighting and dynamic lighting, and I'm really big about atmospheric effects and feel, and try to create some sort of mood with the stuff that I'm doing. But I think it's just, there's so many great artists out there that, you know, you really want to kind of show up and do a really good job, because, you know, especially when you're doing covers, you really want your job as a cover artist to get people to stop, look at the book, and pick it up. And then it's the creative team's job to kind of like seal that deal. But there's so many good guys out there that you kind of really want to bring it, because I know if I fall short on something, and I don't like mailing things in, when you fall short on something, that's the one that people are going to bring to you at every show, and you're just going to look at it, and it's going to piss you off every time you see it. You're just like, oh man. So I usually post that stuff in front of my desk when I'm working, and I just write never again on the cover. I always look at like, hey, look, you know, whatever.
You want to start the day depressed.
No, I think it's more of like having a standard for your work.
That's
because
totally
like when I'm working, like you're on my Mount Rushmore, like it's you know, you, Pearson, Campbell, Golden, and you're always kind of like holding what I kind of hold what I do up to like, hey, is that kind of in the same stratosphere? Because for me, everyone has their own idea of what good looks like.
That's totally true.
And you know, you're always kind of chasing the idea or the ghost of what you think greatness is, because in your mind you have to be happy with the work that you're doing. And if it doesn't, for me, it's like, is that in the same stratosphere as that? And if so, then I feel pretty good about what I'm doing.
I get it.
You know, because you don't want to do a piece where you kind of like regress, and you see
Oh no,
guys,
totally.
you know, you always want to progress as an artist and get better and better and kind of up your game and your bag of tricks. And you know, you just if you fall back, then you feel like, you know, art is always about progression, I think. And if you're not getting better, and evolving in what you're doing. And it's like, well,
One of the things I've found, if there's something I'm particularly unhappy about, that's everyone's favorite.
oh, really?
Yeah, that does happen.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they're working. Yeah, I don't know. There's some technical experience here. I don't know.
No, we're not. I don't. Mine's a surprise. No, I don't share.
They do surprises, yeah. Arthur, I wanted to go to you. So you've had iconic runs with tons of X-Men titles, Hulk, FF. You've been doing this for a very long time. How would you say you're a legend?
Not old at all, but
You're a legend. Just say you're a legend. How would you say your art has changed?
How is my art?
How has it evolved? Yes, and
How's
do you think
my
it's
art
organic?
evolved?
Yeah, do you think it's organic or just you've
Oh, my
acquired more
back
tools?
hurts and my vision is fading, and I don't know, man. I'm just always trying to do the very best I can do. And I do pretty much what Jonboy was just saying, that you're just always trying to maintain and chase, hopefully getting better.
Would you say you have a different approach in doing covers than you do interiors?
Oh, naturally, it's a different thing. As we were saying, the cover is to sell the book, and the interior is it's entirely I mean, they both have to be drawn well, of course.
Right.
But in the cover, you're trying to either sell the character or the story the character is in as dynamically as you can, right?
Right.
And then in the interiors, trying to tell a good story.
I find it really interesting. I like getting into the mind of every creator because everyone has a different opinion. Earlier, I had Stegman and Otley in here. And as far as covers are concerned, Otley said as far as covers are concerned, Otley said he likes to have the script. He always has a script. He'll go through the script,
Yeah.
and then he'll pick a moment in that book. Stegman was the other way. He's like, nope, I rarely ever have the script. I just do what's going to sell.
Wait, so Ryan looks at the script for the cover when he's doing covers?
So Ryan Otley,
when he does the covers.
Yeah, when he does the covers, he
Interesting.
always combs through the script. Stegman doesn't.
They never send me a script.
And I don't really want a script. I mean, I'm lazy, and so I generally want them to give just the editor to tell me a little bit. But no, I almost never like to see the script, because usually because the comic that will be in my head is almost always better than the one that comes out. And I don't want to have that. Yeah.
Jonboy, what about you?
I've never gotten a script, but I mean, sometimes, working on covers now is like working on a bag of Doritos. They'll give you an idea of where the target is, and saying, hey, we kind of want to cover like that. And in my mind, I'm kind of like, that's kind of a weak shot. So you kind of give them what they want, but then you do one or two roughs that are kind of like, hey, like this is better. Like we should do this.
Yeah, I try to do that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, to me though, it's kind of like you've got enough kind of change in the bank to kind of show you like, hey, just kind of trust me on this. I'll do you a solid. I mean, it's editorial teams. You're just kind of they're a guest in their house, and they're just like.
And it's also funny now because they almost all the companies do variants of something or other.
Right.
So, like I sent in a variety of sketches for a recent cover, for a Battle Beast cover, and
That
one of
looked good, by the way. I loved
Thank
it.
you so much. I appreciate that. But there was one particular sketch that I liked that they didn't choose, and then I saw that Dan Panosian had basically done the thing I was thinking about doing.
I think they sent it to Dan and said, just do that.
That's probably it. No, but what I mean is that everyone probably sends in some sketches, and
Right.
so that the editor gives the editors an idea of what they're dealing with.
I want to get into design a little bit because obviously that's a huge part of drawing comic books. So Jonboy, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Obviously you've had the chance to do kind of your take on Spawn several years ago. Even you are, I don't know how many people know, but you're credited for that Robin costume as well, the Damian Wayne kind of tunic.
Yeah, everyone gives that to Jorge, and Jorge's amazing. But Jorge, yeah, the new Robin costume. Well, not the gray one.
The one right before it.
The one right before it for Rebirth. But Jorge's always been going like, no, I did not do that. But I think that's the thing about working in comics. You want to do something that kind of adds to the meta because we're all fans, and we want to do something that kind of leaves our thumbprint on that because. Working on Spawn, I mean, there's no way I'm going to draw Spawn. If I do Spawn, just regular Spawn, there's no way I'm going to top Cthulhu, there's no way. And there's no way I'm going to top Todd. The best thing you can do for yourself as an artist is do your own unique take on the character and add whatever flares or filigrees or make it your own. And, you know, like Todd worked on, you know, did Venom and stuff like that. Well, you know, Spawn's never really emoted a lot with the mouth, so I'll give him a mouth and tongue and do all this other stuff and kind of make him a little bit more, make it different. Because you want to separate your run. The best thing you can do in life is because it's so short, you know, you're here and you're gone, and you really don't know that until you're old, because, you know, we live our lives like we have like 1,000 years to live, and we don't.
What?
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, like, you know, take some chances, especially with art, because if people hate it, I'm like, well, screw it, you know, we can reboot it in 10 issues later. You know, but to stand out, do something bold and be different and put your own unique voice out there, because the worst thing that people can say is like, oh, we don't like it or it sucks, or, you know, but, you know, when you're rebooting things, you want to keep what you think is good and then reinvent the rest, but these things still have to feel familiar. So I just, like, if I add the mouth and sharp the cape a little bit, maybe that makes it kind of my own. So that's what I did.
Right.
And same with Teen Titans. For me, I went back to the Perez stuff, which I grew up on and I loved, and I wanted to do classic colors again. So every color scheme I pulled from was from the Perez kind of pile. Because when people see those colors and those same types of shapes, just redefine them. I'm already kind of linking what I'm doing with people's love for that run already. So it's kind of like winning hearts and minds to the new stuff that you're doing. So it's just repackaged slightly, but it feels familiar, but it feels good. You know, because if it's too alien, then you're like, not my Batman. You know what I mean? So
no, that's actually an interesting question that I wanted to get into as far as design. We'll come back to you. But Arthur, would you say, like, when doing your character, kind of off of Jonboy's point, do you think every artist should leave, you know, the basis kind of there? Because, you know, these characters are immortal, right? You have, everyone knows what, like, the normal Hulk's supposed to look like, the normal Wolverine's supposed to look like, but at the same time, you know, you have to put your artistic take on it. What do you think the balance of that is?
It really does depend on the subject matter. For instance, when I was working on a Batman project years ago.
2-minute warning, by the way, for this first round.
Well, this is not.
you gotta switch to a Sharpie now.
Yeah, that's
Oh, Quan!
yeah.
Quan took my nice pointed Sharpie and gave me a dull one.
Oh.
Oh no, it's all right. It's
It's not
okay.
a matter of having an extra one. Sometimes when they're fresh, they're really nice and pointy. That's
It's
a
all
great
right.
one.
I've got a brush. I'll use the brush pen.
The
It's
brush.
all right. I got a brush
We'll
pen.
get into the end. We'll survive.
Yeah, we'll
probably. Anyway, like with Batman, I really froze up because there's been so many great artists on Batman. And what I tend to do when I'm working on any character is I'll go back to look at what they look like at the very beginning. So like Spider-Man, I'll look at Ditko. With FF, I'll look at Kirby. Unfortunately, with Batman, it didn't start out as pretty as it developed to be. So that was kind of a funny one. And as I was saying, there's so many great Batman artists over the years. And also the Batman that's in my head is the Batman that I loved when I was a kid.
Right.
So, you know, when I think of when I'm looking at a Batman script, the first thing I'm picturing is Adam West running around fighting whatever nefarious character is in play.
So going off that, who would you say was your biggest influences? I know you referenced, you know, Ditko obviously and stuff like that, but
I mean, my biggest influences were, the ones that I always credit, and really, it's basically anybody who was any good at comics was an influence in some way or other. But the ones I always give the most credit for is Walter Simonson, and
Walt's so great.
Walter's a good man and a great artist, and Barry Windsor Smith, great artist, and Michael Golden, who's just, you know, was a huge influence for me right at the very beginning. And also he's a fun guy, so that works out too.
Is Barry Smith doing anything?
Barry Smith, I think last I heard he had a stroke a while ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware that he's done anything
I hope
for
he's
a while.
okay.
Yeah.
That's another guy I just feel like doesn't get acknowledged enough because it's so influential.
Yeah, and he did so much. It's funny because he did some comics early on, and then he did so many in the 80s and in the 90s. I think it got easy to be taken for granted.
Yeah.
One of the problems with the guys who are super productive is that it's easy to forget that they're as awesome as they are.
you know what I'm hearing? And like everyone you're mentioning
1 minute.
is super unique.
Not enough time, man. I'm going to
know.
be done in 1 minute.
Everybody is super unique, but they're not really imitations of anybody exactly. They're kind of their own. I mean, they've got influences, but
It's
they're
funny, like Golden, it's amazing to me that like that Golden was stayed such an influence for me, because where I first discovered his work was in the first issue of Micronauts.
yeah. It's crazy.
And then by issue 1 of Micronauts and issue 6, it's like 2 different artists. It's like 2 different guys, and I love both of them. But yeah, Barry Smith is, I mean, well, he started out, of course, as being kind of a Kirby clone, and then brought in all that style and the elegance and beauty. And then Walter's just always been awesome. Like, he's always had the Kirby in him, but then have found his own way to make it just amazing.
Pretty awesome.
That is time, technically.
It's not.
It's
not.
not. You're out. Okay.
Like, give me 2 minutes.
Next
Give me
one.
a minute.
Next one can be the smiley face.
Okay. Jonboy, let's go with you since obviously I think people are curious on what tools and stuff you use. For every artist probably be different too, but what tools and what's kind of your workflow like?
My workflow is just, oh gosh, a lot of things trending now towards digital because they, like I said, it's like working on a bag of Doritos, so they want to see thumbnails, they want to see roughs, and so I'll work digitally coming up with thumbnails and roughs. I'll do like 3 or 4 and send it off, and then kind of bat around with them a little back and forth, like, hey, you know, we should play, you know, we should really do this way. Can we do this way? Can we try this? And then once something gets approved, then I'll do a cleaned up rough of that and resubmit because you want to. The worst thing I think I don't like is like getting changes right before we have the print. Like they sign off on it, and then I don't like it because it changes the original art.
Right.
Then because I can't sell it, then people are like, why does it look like that? And it's like, well,
This is why I turn in my stuff late.
Yeah. Well, you know, that only works, I think that works for you. Like, if I try that, I'm like, you're not Arthur Adams, you can't do that. I'm like, okay.
In those exact words.
In those exact words. But like, just to try to handhold every step to minimize any changes, because the thing about an artist is when you're all in on what you're doing, that really takes a wind out of my sails is I got to go back and dump in another 10 or 12 hours doing patches or fixes.
Yeah.
And it puts the FU in fun because you just like, because you're kind of really married to that you've already, your original vision now because you're invested time in it. And that's the thing about it. You got to look at, like, as an artist, you know, time is the greatest thing that you have as a creative, and where you choose to spend that is really important.
Yeah.
Because then if you have to stick another 10 hours in it, then that's something that takes away from something else, you know? And I'm the type of guy where if I got something on my plate, I will work to it. It's done. If my wife wants to go out and hang out and do a movie, then I will do that and then come back home and work. If that means I have to go to bed at 2 or 3, then that's kind of how it is, you know? So it's, not to say that it's something I hate, but I always try to like kind of mitigate that as much as I can.
Yeah, that kind of brings me to my next question. Like, how do you stay motivated to continue evolving as an artist?
Well, mortgages help.
Yeah, right? Gotta pay them bills.
I think for me, it goes back to something that Art touched on, and it kind of goes back to your why. Like, why do you want to be an artist? Why do you want to do this? What's your passion? And that's true for anything that you do. You know, it's like, well, why do you want to stay up late and get this done? It's not just really about a deadline. Like, you really love comics, you love what you do, you love creating, you love drawing, you love adding things to the meta that is, you know, whatever comics is, you know, because, like, no one of us do this to become rich millionaires. Both
The
for
vast
like,
majority of people aren't as fortunate as we've been, yeah.
yeah, well, like Art, yeah, he's cleaning up, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
True.
Yeah. But I mean, we really get into it. At least I do, because I love art, I love comics, and I want to add something to the industry. I want to leave my mark. I want to be as great as the people I looked up to, and I was, you know, whose work I like, because they left this really great mark on me and on the industry. Because that's the thing about greats. It's like there's only one Jordan, there's only one Arthur Adams, there's only one Michael Golden, and you wanna that's something that no one can ever take away from you. You want to create that type of legacy for yourself and a body of work.
It's true. I'm always telling people like, that are, when they're really strongly influenced by people, it's like, we already got one of those. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is you'll come a point where it's just like Da Vinci, everybody, you copy the masters.
You start out somewhere.
But then you got to start, okay,
You got to find your own way.
go fly, buddy.
Yeah.
Time to move out of your basement.
That's I used to say that deadlines will really show you what you whatever. If you were looking for an artistic style, deadlines are going to tell you what your artistic style is. Because the thing you do that you do is under pressure is what is the way you're going to do stuff.
That's you want ready to show that one, John? That one's pretty sick.
This is pretty sick.
Yeah, I can see
I went
one.
for the LOLs.
I know. No, that actually is really nice. I like it.
Oh, you guys are gonna like these. These are great.
Well, I cheated. I pre-sketched a little bit. I was like messing around with it because like I know I talk a little bit and then I can't talk and draw. So
And mine's going to be disappointing because I was going to draw a lot of dead bodies, but I
no, it looks good. I
ran
love
out
it.
of time. There's no time. There's no space for the
There
burned
is-
skulls
There's no time.
and
There is no
the
time.
fires of hell and all that sort of stuff.
Well, they all. Oh man, is that okay? That works.
All right.
Well, they wanted 2 sketches. That's why. So.
Yeah. All right.
More for fans.
Oh, right here.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't think this through.
This can be fixed.
Sorry. That's all right. It's just a plug. It's
No,
just a
but-
plug. It's okay.
Probably.
It's all right. Is it working?
It'll take us about.
All right. Yeah.
I
Okay.
too over here. All right.
Okay.
Very cool.
No, you gotta see art.
Jonboy's a better man than I am.
Oh no, dude, this is awesome.
It is. It's really,
I wanted to
really
take
the
it.
finest one I've
I wanted to take it
ever
because I wanted.
drawn.
Hey, okay, I just want to point this out, everybody.
Yeah.
If anybody did not get that.
I was gonna draw a swastika. I thought that might be going too far.
Instead of skulls, little swastika.
That's a good idea. I should have. I'm glad I didn't, but it's a good idea.
Todd would see it like, hey, what are you doing?
So back to you guys. For
Or a new action figure. One or the other. Oh no!
Do you want to go to the audience
no.
again for the last round?
It's up to you, Art.
Yeah, I can do. What do you have in mind?
Throw
Do
something
they
out,
really have
guys.
this thing is only a half hour?
I thought it was an hour.
It's 45 minutes. We got another 15 minutes for the last round.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
That's
We've been
it?
doing this for a
Yeah.
half hour.
We just got here.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I haven't had fun yet, though.
I mean, I guess they can't technically kick us off, right?
No, we just stay. We just stay.
Your cares if it goes over time.
You guys want to line
idea.
up and first come, first serve. Ask some questions, and they can give you their answers.
The answer is I'm already married.
I want to know whenever you have kids and they do art, how do you save their kids? What is the best way to save it?
To save the art? Oh man, my parents threw all my art away. Like, oh, I do this for your mom. Like, oh, I love you. And they're like, threw it up on the fridge. And then when I was gone there, I threw it in the garbage.
So my dad.
Did he-
So just before I was becoming professional, I was like cleaning out my room to move away to my apartment. I threw away a whole bunch of old artwork. My dad got so mad. It turns out he was taking my artwork and selling it to people at work.
Oh my God!
It's like, you're ruining my beer fund.
Saving, I mean, nowadays, who knows? I mean, if they're drawing on paper or what?
In all kind of stuff?
On all kinds of stuff?
Yes.
I don't know. That can pile up. I'm a lot more sentimental than my wife is. So my wife will give me a big giant pile and says, I'm about to throw these away from our kids' drawings. I'm about to throw these away. And do you want to go through first? And like my first reaction is, okay, I'll put them in this plastic box over here. And my wife's like, yeah, we got enough plastic
She said,
boxes.
it was already in that plastic box. I'm taking it out. Yeah, my
Kind of, sort of.
Which kind of paper would be the best
Um,
for them to
Most modern paper is okay.
Yeah. I think the main thing about it is instead of saving, like saving is always good. I think just always encourage your kids to kind of do what they want to do, because if your kids are showing a desire for art and they're serious about it, they're always drawing, they're focused about it, they're probably figuring out what they want to do and who they are,
Yeah.
you know, and just encourage that. And if there's things you want to save, just try to find a place to save it.
Save the sentimental
You know?
ones.
Yeah, save the ones that like, hey, like you really like, okay, cool. But if you want to save everything, I think you just, I get like old Xerox boxes, you know, and just put them in those. Like you get the big reams of paper, once you clean it out, just put them in the box.
My kid wanted to be a big wheeler. It was like at one show because we always bring we're old mom and dad, and so we don't have anyone to watch our child, so we take her with us everywhere. And we were at a show in Chicago years ago, and they gave us a big area, so Alex had a whole big table all to herself, and we got her a big sheet, a big booklet of newspaper print, you know, newspaper paper. And she drew a big giant drawing with all of her crayons. It was, you know, it was just a scribble. It was a big old mess. You put it on the table, and people would come by and say, "How much for this?" You know, being funny, being nice. "How much for your drawing?" And my daughter would say, "This one's not for sale, but I can do another one just like it for $10,000.
I like the
No
way she
takers
thinks.
this time, though.
Oh, I like the way she
Yeah,
thinks. That's
yeah.
brilliant.
You can face it.
First of all, I'd like to say it's an honor.
Oh, you're very nice. Thank you.
Secondly, my question is, starting out as an artist, like, what do you believe is the best way to market yourself?
Best way to market yourself is to be good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, being good is the best beginning. Beyond that, there's so many ways to do it now. I mean, when I started, I was just basically showing up at conventions and you know, setting up at my table and trying to, and I was selling my drawings for $10 for pencils or $20 for things that were inked, because I just wanted my comic book money. Yeah, really the best thing is just to be good. And there's so many places now. I post on Instagram fairly regularly. There's just so many opportunities. It's hard to even pick one.
Yeah, I agree with Art. I think the thing about it is be so good they can't ignore you.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing about it is there's so much pressure to be swayed into changing your art and doing things, but if you have a unique
is true.
vision of what you want to do, don't let anybody try to water down what you want to do, because sometimes you're ahead of the curve in what you're doing,
Sometimes you're making your own curve.
and sometimes you're making your own curve, and you just gotta keep doing it, because just because people don't get it right away doesn't mean they won't later on, because if you stay true to what you think is right for you and what you're doing, you're gonna find your audience. And I think always start small. Like if, you know, going to conventions is a really great way to get your work out. And sharing your work on Instagram and social channels is always great. I think the main thing I'd always caution is really don't give a crap about what people have to say.
Good and bad, because
Yeah.
the good ones
Yeah.
feel nice. The bad ones you remember longer.
Right.
And they always stand
Right.
out more, but they also almost never mean the same.
Yeah. Like I think the only opinion that should matter with the work that you're creating is your own. You have to be happy with the work that you're doing, and you have to be your own hardest critic, because it's whether you're good or bad, it's really up to you.
Being with your honest with
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
is really important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good luck.
I have one more question.
That's cool.
I didn't know if you guys were going on a house or something, where I find you guys at the con.
Oh, where to find us? We're pretty
next
much
to
right
each
next
other,
to each
yeah.
other. I can't tell you the number though.
I'm P73. I think you're P77.
There you go. He knows.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's it? Long-term fan of both of y'all.
Thank you so much.
Just-
Sorry, I'm not looking up because we're trying to get the drawing, but we're listening.
Keep working. But basically, who is a character or a object or animal? Because I think American Dolbo answered horses for some reason. But what is?
Did you say ants and horses?
No. What is a? She answered horses to this question. But what is the thing you hate drawing the most? Whether it's a person, a character, an object, whatever it is. What do you hate?
So the thing that I always have the most difficulty with, and it's just basically from the storytelling point of view and just getting things coordinated, is I always have trouble drawing guns. They're always a lot of work for me. I always have to get a lot of reference. And even if I get a picture of myself holding like I have a bunch of replica guns at home, like I said, I have problems with this, and I'll hold them, get pictures of it, and pictures of myself, and like in the picture it looks fine because I'm like in my mind I know what a gun looks like, but in comics, especially the way I do them, I try to do a fair amount of exaggeration, and that ends up meaning I just draw like a handgun that's this big, and I always have trouble with that.
What was the question?
Is there something you hate drawing?
No, I think you got to take everything as a challenge. Because the universe will tell you the things that you need to work on sometimes if you're just paying attention, you know. And there's always things that are kind of like your Achilles heel, but then it just means that you need to spend more time doing that when you can find the time to level up, you know. So there's not things that I hate. I think the things that I don't like as a sequential artist is when you can't talk to your writer is really difficult because if they're not pacing a scene right and everything is a 10 on the page, by the time you get to it, like this big battle scene and they don't consult with you and you're just like, dude, I'm not drawing 20 pages of like guys throwing cars at each other. It's just like, come on, man. I think that's more of the thing that I always kind of stress over is like, is this attainable in the time that we're doing? And I always like trying to have a conversation when I'm working on interiors with somebody, like to pace things out, because usually they want to play to your strengths, you know. Because the worst thing is you put everything into what you got for that one issue, and then pretty much you got nothing left for the rest of it because the writer just destroyed you with everything that they had in their arsenal, and you're just like, all right, I'm done. I'm kind of like, okay, I have nowhere else to go. That's it. So.
And certainly I found in the past I would say that I hated drawing buildings or something like that.
You're so good at it though.
Because at some point I realized, unfortunately it was fairly early on, is that sitting there drawing, I was like, wait a minute, it's all just lines on paper. It's like, none of them really, I mean, they mean what they mean in the course of what the audience is looking at, but for me, it's just lines on paper, just calm down.
I just gotta add real quick, Art. People are gonna freak over that. That's crazy.
Oh,
that is crazy. No one's gonna guess what that is. Guaranteed.
I know what that is.
That is amazing.
See, this is why I wanted a ticket, because I want to win a piece. You have no idea.
I just like drawing Hitler mustaches, that's all.
Alright. Real quick, I wanted to add on that for both of you, since he asked what's your least favorite thing or what you hate drawing. Let's get the flip of that. What's your favorite thing to draw, favorite character to draw?
Again, I don't have a favorite thing to draw. I just like drawing. What I'm drawing right now is basically kind of what I wanted to do when I was younger. I wanted to be the next guy on the newspaper strip, which
that used to be a huge deal too.
It used to be a big deal, man. That's my first exposure to comics was getting the Sunday comics at home and going through it every Sunday. And
I had a fight with my brothers
loving the crap out of it. And man, when they started, and I was older, but by the time they started doing the Spider-Man cartoon, or Spider-Man newspaper strip, I was thrilled. I ended up not really liking it as much as I'd hoped to. They did a great job in the Spider-Verse, like in the first one where they had the different Spider-Mans meeting each other.
Yeah.
And this gives you an idea what the Spider-Man strip was like. It's like 3 panels every day. The first panel recapping what happened in the last 3 panels. A new panel, and the next panel excited for the next panel, and I would repeat over and over. So it means every 3 panels, someone is reintroducing the entire situation.
Jonboy, what about you? We'll get to you next.
What was the question?
Favorite thing or favorite character to draw?
Honestly, monsters are actually a lot of fun. Like a character like Venom. Venom can be anything. He can be heroic, he can be creepy, he can be monstrous, because there's a lot more flex to do something fun creatively. And as an artist, you want to be able to flex and kind of like peacock out a little bit and show like, hey, do something different.
Monsters are good because if you draw them ugly, no one knows.
Nobody cares. It's a monster. It's like, this is fun. There's no bad judgment on it, whether it's good or bad. It's like, it's Venom, man.
It's like that's how he's supposed to look.
Yeah. So, I think drawing monsters is always something that's fun. Like creature type characters like Spawn and stuff was always fun. And Todd had always given me advice on it, and I'm like, nah, man, I draw everything. And Todd's like, talk to me in a month. Then I hit the wall, like, dude, I don't know what to do. he's like, oh, well, to make deadline, just, put them in silhouette, so this is what I do, and we're like, okay, bud, okay, I'm just gonna draw them, and then you put them in silhouette, there you go, and you just put the eyes there.
I gotta work on my Todd impression.
Yeah, so, but he was right, he says, yeah, just black it out, use silhouettes more, he was looking at me, he's just shaking his head like, you're gonna burn yourself out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, well, why don't you use silhouettes and some cutaways and some close-ups and more? And I'm like, I like to draw. He's like, I do too, but I like to do stuff. It's, all right. But yeah, he was right. And yeah, I think it's just sometimes we're just too stupid to know when we're getting good advice, and we just have to make those mistakes.
Right.
And make those mistakes, and then you learn, and you never make those mistakes again. You're like, oh, this was great advice. Great.
So we have 5 minutes, but we can go a little too.
Yeah, no one's gonna kick us out. It's our house, man.
Your question.
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
Hey, John, we're talking props and real.
Hey, what's up? Oh, sorry, Mike.
No, you're good. I was just saying that this mic issue.
Oh.
Talking props. I mean, you're tall like me.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's way tall. Have you seen him?
Way taller.
Freakish is tall.
Way like 30 feet taller.
Yes.
Weird.
I wanted to know, both of you guys have had storied careers already. Who was a writer that you're still hoping to work with, and on what book, like what characters?
I hear Neil isn't doing anything. It's not good. No. Actually, I really hoped I'd be able to work with Neil Gaiman someday, so I'm very sad that things have taken such an unfortunate turn. I don't know, man. I've worked with some really good people. I hope I can work with there's people mostly I'd like to work with again. So I'd like to work with Claremont again. I'd like to work with Walter Simonson again. I'd like to write more of my own again.
Yeah. I would like to work with Arthur Adams. If you ever do something, either pin up or cover or something, let me know. I'd be totally on board.
Thank you.
I work with Chris Claremont on this thing called Gen X United, and his scripts are so condensed, so I wanted to talk to him, and I emailed him, like, Chris, can I talk to you about this? He's like, no.
Oh no.
Just draw it like I wrote it. And I'm like,
oh no.
Dude. Because I think what happened was,
Is this before or after the strokes?
before.
Before?
Yeah, and he was like, hey, just do it like this. And it was 6 issues, but it was so packed. Everything was like an 8 to 10 page layout. And I think what happened was it was a 12 issue mini that they cut to 6.
Oh,
so
that's not impossible.
Everything.
So he might have been sharing his crabbiness at Marvel with you.
Well, yeah, well, I didn't take it personally. This is Chris Claremont. He probably spit on me and a bit. Yeah.
No. I mean, people there's certain people that, and you've probably experienced some of this. There's people that you've heard really terrible stories about, but had really great interactions with.
Oh, I've had great interactions. Well, Bruce yelled at me and Mike Mignola was right next to him. And Mike looked at him like, what's wrong with you?
Coming from Mignola, that's a big deal.
Well, Mike is cool. Like, yeah, it was like,
Not everyone thinks that.
Oh, Mike's great. Yeah.
There's people who've had, but also like one of my favorite stories is I came into Comic-Con one year at San Diego, and Mike was standing in front of we were sharing a table, and Mike was looking miserable. He looked so sad, and his wife was there and was consoling him, and I was like, what's wrong? What happened? Well, earlier today I had breakfast with Mobius. It's like, oh, that's awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting here and I saw that Mobius was talking to some guy in front of our table, because we were also sharing a table with Jeff Darrow. So it was Jeff Darrow.
Oh, Jeff's great too.
Exactly. So Jeff Darrow, Mike Mignola, and myself all sharing this booth. And Mobius is there pointing at Jeff Darrow's artwork, gesticulating happily, and then looking at Mike's work and shaking his head. And Mike's like, what's going on over there? So Mike kind of slides up next to him, slides up next to and was listening. He's like, and Mobius is looking at Jeff Darrow's work, going, look at Jeff Darrow's artwork. Look at his line work. His line work is so whimsical, so amusing, so full of humor and life. But Mignola's lines, dead.
He just doesn't get Mignola. He just doesn't get Mike.
He'd had breakfast with Mike hours before, and he looked at Mike
Dogging the guy.
talking about how bad Mignola was, not recognizing.
I know. I want to point out the fact you guys are just talking about Mobius. I feel like not enough people here are acknowledging the fact that if you don't know who Mobius is, look at Mobius.
Yeah, Mobius is
a
great.
great artist.
But this gives you a taste of like, even Mobius gets it wrong because,
Totally.
you know what, someone's opinion of your work at the end of the day shouldn't matter. The only opinion should be a matter. You should be happy with what you're doing. And if you're not, then take steps to get better.
And Mobius, a legend.
Yeah.
Jeff Darrow, a legend.
Yeah.
Mike Mignola, a legend. Great artists all.
All right, so we're at that time. I think we can start with these first two, right? You guys finish up those?
Done, man.
You put a Hitler mustache on there?
I decided to put 2 Hitler mustaches on there.
All right, you gotta go first this time.
I can go first. Pass it on.
Dude, I really want this one.
That's solid. That is.
So this is what I wanted to do when I was a child.
Really? This
It
character?
is. I wanted to draw that guy. If at 13 someone told me I could do that for the rest of my life,
You know,
I'd be
Jason can
pretty
get the
freaking happy.
license because the license is available.
It's not even licensed now. It's public domain now.
Why don't you do your own?
I could
What do you
totally
guys
do my
think it
own.
is?
No.
You can see it.
Yeah, you're right. Isn't that great?
That was.
Thimble Theater.
Yeah,
This is my favorite character.
There you go. My second favorite.
his face is tiny. Art, like you do the page, you get it really well.
Because of my poor vision.
You have poor vision?
My vision is, as you get older, there's a thing that happens that they don't tell you about.
Macular
You have
degeneration.
the floaters and stuff. And it turns out as you get older, the interior of your eye kind of sloughs off, which sounds really, really rough. And it can threaten your retinas if it's not coming off quite right. You can get a detached retina and stuff like that. And this just kind of settles over time. Like my eye doctor says, oh, it's going to be fine. Just to, let me know if you get like a flash of light or something. That means something. There might be
right?
It happens to lots of people, but it happens to Simon. It's going to happen to you.
Well,
You get older, it's going to happen to everybody.
I was
It's
reading,
coming for you.
I was reading there's this thing called red light therapy. You put
Yeah.
it on your face and your eyes actually helps heal your eyes. So.
You know what? I don't know. I just
I'm gonna
rubbed them
try
really
it.
hard, and
Man, that sucks.
Jonboy, you want to pull the first ticket for yours?
Oh, you know what?
There you go.
nice. See, are we? First number is 85269
852. What is it again?
852-692. That's a lot of tickets in there. I don't think there's
You get
that
it?
many
You
people
got
there.
it?
You got it?
Hey, all right. Congratulations.
Which one should you give him?
Well, I think that was that one, and I'm gonna draw for arts. Is that okay? Can I draw for
There we
yours?
go.
Yes, do it.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna kind of move this around in here.
Glad we brought a sensible person.
Okay. This is for arts. Awesome. Hitler, Spawn, Kirby. And we will see that on eBay, I'm sure. 852-867. That is 867. Hey, all right.
Nice. Let me get a picture of that one. I need a picture of that one.
Tag Todd
We have to find out why I'm going to prison.
What is this? It's like, oh, that's it's like, well, we should make a cover of that. You're like, no,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We doing the Batman next?
We do that next.
Batty Man.
Got it.
Okay. Eight, 52745.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Pikachu.
Pikachu.
I pick you.
Who's getting the Popeye?
Do you remember
Not
in
like
the
that.
80s, like the 90s, how cheap like art was? Like to buy art back in the day?
So,
Like,
if one of the first shows I went to, art dealers were different then. It was just a long table with piles of artwork on it. And one of the first piles I was looking at the very top page was Barry Smith, splash page from Avengers number 100. It's not a great splash page. It's not Barry's best work, but it's the Black Knight riding a horse. And I'd seen the comic, and the horse had kind of a weird texture on it. And I was like, I don't know how he did that. And I looked at the page and realized he'd done it with a ballpoint pen. And so there I am, like, learning how to draw comics. Like, wait, you can use a ballpoint pen on Marvel Comics? So I was looking at it, it's like,
it didn't age badly either.
it looked fine. I mean, at that point, it was like 10 years after the book had come out. So it was so anyway, I'm looking at it, and I turn it over, and it says $40. And I had like $50 in my pocket.
Did you buy it?
No, I looked at it and said, I can buy a lot of comics for $40. Comics were like 50 cents at the time, or 75 cents or whatever, right? Yeah.
This is when Hellboy first launched, and I was looking at Mike's pages,
Yeah.
and he was like talking to somebody beside him, and he's like, man, I hope I at least get $300 a page. I'd be happy. And I was looking at him, and he's like, man, these are awesome. How much is all that? Was like $400. I was like, oh man, I wish I had $400 because I was a stupid kid, so I didn't know, and I didn't have the money. But like $400 was might as well like be 40 grand. But
Totally,
like,
yeah.
looking at it now, I'm just like, man,
Yeah, I know.
I would have just like I would have eaten Subway the whole time. Just like
I should have bought that page.
Should have bought that page, man.
A bunch of those, yeah.
Crazy.
No, no.
Okay, so if he's not here, I'm claiming this piece. Just point that out. Okay, 852-809. 852. Oh! Right. Did you get a picture of that?
There you go. All right, gentlemen, this has been great. Thank you so much. And quickly, where can they find you in Artist Alley again?
P77 and P73. We're pretty close together.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of great product. He has a new sketchbook out. Got to pick it up. It's pretty awesome. So.
Thank you, everyone.
Boy, thank you, everyone.